Under the gloom of the funeral day, adult hands persuade the child to the pews. The minister intones the solemn ceremony, while grown-up faces weep or press their sadness between steady eyes and firm lips. The child feels the strange oppressiveness of the atmosphere, but as yet cannot fathom the reason. Then the final processional, grim men and women file by the casket. The father's hands reach down and lift the child high, and there, hovering like a captive angel in his father's grip, the child first sees the shell of his grandfather's soul. He stares down at the face he knew last week, the same face, but now shrunken into something remote and unfamiliar. It's not like grandfather sleeping. Something is gone. The child suddenly grasps the lifeless corpse for what it is, something that has become holy matter, holy space, and at the same moment it feels itself an individual being in an alien and extended world. Here, in the decisive moments of existence, when the child first becomes man and realizes his immense loneliness in the universal, the world fear reveals itself for the first time as the human fear in the presence of death. Later, back in the subdued warmth of his own home, the child gazes out the window. People walk, cats prowl, birds dart, all live but not grandfather. He will never walk the earth again. Never. The day completes its cycle. Distinctions blur in the landscape. Stars wink into sight, tiny brightnesses in a vast dark. People lie down to sleep. Some people, like grandfather, will never see the morning. This the child now knows with certitude. The tears well up and shatter down his cheeks. He cries not only for the loss of what grandfather was for him, he cries for the inescapable loneliness that the sureness of grandfather's death now means. In these moments, the soul of the culture, like the soul of the child, is born. The passage carries profound implications about the fundamental nature of human existence and civilization. At its core, it presents death awareness as the crucible that forges both individual consciousness and collective culture. The child's traumatic encounter with mortality mirrors humanity's evolutionary awakening to its own finitude, that pivotal moment when our ancestors first grasped the inevitability of death. This realization sparks an existential crisis that demands resolution through cultural creation. What emerges is a grand philosophical narrative about the origins of meaning-making. The individual's confrontation with loss becomes the prototype for society's response to mortality. Just as the grieving child seeks comfort in the continuing rhythms of life outside his window, early humans developed agricultural cycles, seasonal rituals, and ancestor veneration to assert continuity against death's finality. The passage suggests our most profound cultural institutions, religion, art, community structures, all originate as bulwarks against the terror of impermanence. This perspective reveals civilization itself as an elaborate defense mechanism. The shift from nomadic hunting to settled farming represents not just economic progress but a psychological revolution, humanity's attempt to root itself in the land as a symbolic stand against transience. The soul of the culture that emerges is essentially a shared dream of permanence, a collective fiction that allows us to live with the knowledge of our mortality. Yet the passage hints this may be a tragic bargain, as the very civilizations we build to escape death awareness ultimately follow their own life cycles of growth and decay. The child's tears thus become a metaphor for the human condition, our species' doomed but noble struggle to create meaning in a universe indifferent to our existence. Every cultural achievement, from the first funeral rites to the greatest cities, represents another layer in our ongoing attempt to answer that primal moment of recognition before the grandfather's coffin. The passage ultimately suggests that what we call civilization may simply be the accumulated echoes of that first devastating realization: something is gone. The passage carries profound implications about the fundamental nature of human existence and civilization.